Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television, and I have two special guests here with me today. We have Missy Luckett. We're going to talk about her book that she has written and upcoming books, and we have her mother with us as well, Marceline Cecil.
Right.
And she's going to be telling us how wonderful the book is, right?
Absolutely.
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 Because she's also inspiration for a lot of this book, right?
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, first of all, we're going to talk about the book. Now, you may know Missy from Missy's Out of the Way Cafe, which is down in Raywick, a wonderful place to eat, great food. How long have you owned the cafe?
15 years.
15 years. Congratulations. It's our 15th anniversry for Central Kentucky Television, too.
15 years. So
we're twins.
I decided to take a break for a minute, and you can keep on going.
Okay. Now, you actually are closed from July until January because you're working on the sequel to this book, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, too.
Yes.
But first, let's talk about what we have right here. And it's called Comet Eyes. Which
Weird
is
name, I know.
It's a mixture of comedy and drama, right?
And drama, yes.
And that's your life.
We're gonna take that drama and we're gonna try to make you laugh about it.
Okay. So this is based on you. All about you.
Yes, I mean, I'm in all the stories, but the reason I started was when my house burnt down, you know, and all the pictures and the memories I had of everybody that was in there, I just started writing also stories about them. So it's not just me, it's about the people who've came in and out of my life, from living in Raywick, then moving to Lebanon, meeting new people there, to opening the cafe, and just a lot of people have come in and out. So there's lots of stories about a lot of different people. More stories about her, a few more stories about me. We haven't quite got to Summer yet. My daughter, I mean, I've introduced her in here, and she did this drawing, by the way. And
she has some other drawings in there, too.
She has some other drawings in there, and so we're just going to move it till we get there. Now, I don't have a lot of cafe stories in here because this is my house burning down and getting to the reasons of why I started writing.
Right.
So
you had never written a book before?
Oh, no. I failed English 3 times. Well, I didn't fail it. I dropped out because they asked me for a term paper. And I said, does that mean I have to read a book? And they said, yes. So I just said, here's my withdrawal slip, and slid on. So I'm not a writer. This is storytelling. But I've tried my best to learn how to write.
Yeah.
To make it flow, and it does. It does, so.
And what do you think about it?
I love the book. I loved every line, every word in it.
Now, did you get to read it before it was actually published? Did you help edit or anything of that way?
I didn't, but I listened to Missy, you know.
She kind of let me know, should I
stories.
put that in there or should I not put it in there?
So,
There is a few cuss words. She told me to take a few of them out. Some of them I did, but there were certain situations when your house is burning down, that kind of stuff just kind of happens. So
absolutely.
It had to go on in there to get the effect of what was going on while I was running around the house.
Absolutely. Now, how long ago was that for your house?
Halloween Day, 2008.
2008.
Halloween Day.
I get teary-eyed when I think about
October 31st.
Bad day.
It was definitely
And we do not know why the house
trick,
burnt down.
Not a treat.
We definitely don't know why it burnt down either. So
Wow.
there's a little suspicions behind that will kind of get brought up in toward the end of the story of why I think, or what I think could have possibly happened.
What happened? So it's kind of a little mystery a little bit, too.
A little bit, yeah.
So tell us your process for writing this book. I know you said you tried to talk to different people, get ideas on how you write, but you decided the best way for you was kind of, like you said, storytelling.
Well, when I started writing 5 years ago, I just started writing stories down. I mean, I didn't even have a book in mind to publish. So I just started writing stories and just throwing them over to the side. And then I met, what's her name?
Oh, no.
Susan Lowry,
yeah.
sorry. And she read the different stories that I had and told me that I should stick it into a book. So as I was writing, people were telling me, you can't write this way, you know, you can't, by the way, that reminds me, or go here, you have to go straight through. But that's the way I found that I have written my stories. And then I happened to watch How I Met Your Mother, right? And before he gets to almost every story he tells, he goes, wait a minute, I got to tell you this first. Or by the way, that reminds me, you know, back when. So I do a lot of that in there. And so I have to take you to another place before I can bring you back where I need you. So it's not A, B, C, D. It's not like I was born here and, you know. And here I am. So it skips around, and the second one will bring you up to date on some of the questions I left you with in here. Because I did leave you with a couple, that a couple people came to the restaurant and they're like, so on this one page when you said this, you know, what's the answer to that? And I said, well, you'll find it out in the next book. So
That's right.
I had to wait 16 years. They can wait 1 year.
Okay, so there,
Right.
there is drama and mystery in there.
Little drama and mystery, yes.
So this is the
All
first
true.
one. This is your first book, but you actually plan on doing a series.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't planned, but I thought I could get all the stories into one. And then after I started writing and doing my outline, I realized that wasn't going to happen. So I just picked what I wanted people to know, which is, you know, I grew up and started in Raywick, and I introduced that a little bit, and then I went into my house burning down and some situations of why that may have happened. And then some funny stories in the process.
Wow.
In between.
In between.
Yeah.
In between.
Which is the Comet Eyes.
Is it the comatized part? Yes.
Right. Now, so this is about 250
250
pages.
exactly. That's what I wanted, and I don't know how it got to that.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm 30 pages over on my second one, so I'm trying to figure out what I need to go in and take care of. But most people read this in 3 hours, so I don't think 30 more pages is going to
No,
keep them too long. So,
that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So you already have the second one written. It's kind of in the editing stage now, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now tell us, kind of, not giving us too much, but where does that part fit in? Like, where does it start from?
The second one leaves off, I mean, it starts back when I ended, when I was like 10, and well, I don't want to tell you what happened when I was 10, so I ended at 10, and then I moved up into my adulthood. So in the second one, I go back to, okay, when I was 10, this is what happened, and then I ended up, you know, in another town. So then now we're going to talk about that, which is Lebanon for a little while. So we're going to introduce some people from Lebanon, but then in the middle I kind of tell you the story about opening up the cafe.
Okay.
And some of the crazy stuff that happens there, and then I go back into, well, we still, you know, we're building a house now, so now we're still kind of talking about why the first one burned. So we go back to a little more, where I actually had to go to the library and research, and to the courthouse to research on who owned the property out there.
Okay.
Because when I wrote this one, I found, as I was writing this, I found out another house burnt on the same spot.
Wow.
That my house burnt down back in 1930. So,
crazy.
yeah.
It is crazy.
So I kind of went back looking for the situations of what happened on that property. And we know a lot of wars happened there, so we don't know who's wandering the lands right now.
Exactly. These other stories are going on out there, right?
Yeah, so there's just a lot going on, you know, so.
Now, this book came out in October of 2014.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it was the first one. You're going to hopefully have the other one for October of 2015.
That's my go, if I can, you know, get it tweaked and ready for my readers. So
And if you haven't had the opportunity to read it yet, you can get a copy of this book in various different places,
you
right?
get it on Amazon. I'd rather support my local shops like Willie Martin's, and then Carmichael's in Louisville carries it. The little bookstore over in Hodgensville carries it. You know, I mean, I would I like to push the local stores, and I was selling it in the cafe till I decided to close for 7 months, and so that kind of put that to a halt for a minute. So to get people to get the second book, I have to get out there about the first one.
Right.
And and I'm sure there's, you know, you get haters too, along with lovers, but so far I've got good reviews on it, and they're actually waiting for my second one.
Fantastic.
So on Facebook yesterday I put what is it? That's reading is how we enter software into our brains. And so a lady Facebooked me and said, I'm looking forward to some new software in October.
Well, there you go.
So
She
Fantastic.
just needs to do more book signings.
That's right. Now, you did do some book signings to get started, right?
I did, but
Not enough.
in very, like I said, what type of situations would those be? What'd I say?
Yeah. Public speaking?
Yeah,
You're-
I don't
you like
do public speaking, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to do it in casual atmospheres, like I said, at the winery, glass of wine, little chit chat, and you know,
helps.
storytelling and that type of stuff.
And that's why we're doing this, too.
And that's why we're doing this.
So people can
too.
hear your stories and stuff, and it's less intimidating.
Yes. And to conquer one of my fears.
Exactly. See, how are we doing?
I think you're doing great.
So far,
really
so
do.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far, so good.
Now, what's your favorite story in this book?
All of them. Every one of them. Word for word, like I said earlier. I love the book.
Now you know you have to pick out the one where you used
No,
to.
I like every one of Missy. I like every story in that book.
She needs to pick out the one where she made my dad move from the farm because she was, you know, putting an intervention.
You'll have to read it.
Putting an intervention on the farm animals.
That's right. I did.
She didn't want to be a farmer's wife, so
No.
she made damn sure she wasn't gonna.
But
Darn sure she wasn't gonna be one of those for a while.
I'm just saying, I like every story in there. I really did. Every one of them. Most people that have talked to me about this book, they don't put the book down until they've read every story. So that tells you something. Because I know there's a lot of people who put a book down and say, oh, I'm not going to read any more of this. Everybody I've talked to have read that book all the way through. All the way through.
Yeah, it's an easy read because I don't bog people down with a lot of adjectives. The story gets boring. So when I first started writing, it was ridiculous though, because I'd be like, I was here, and then 2 paragraphs later, I was here, which was too short. I'm like, okay, I got to let these people know,
A little more
you know,
detail.
a little more detail. But there's nothing worse than drug out. I looked over the blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah. I mean, it's kind of straight to the point. Got a story about my grandmother, Cleta Bickett, in here, who is, what is she?
90.
90, and some
And she's a character
and
herself.
very witty character. And another thing about writing this is you have to get people to know your characters, because the stories could come off wrong of what they're saying,
Right.
you know, or perceived differently. But we're talking witty and funny, and some of the
that's
things you
something-
have to know how to take. And so I try my best to introduce. It's not a character, because these people are for real. It's a
Yeah.
true story. No lies. Don't need to lie about nothing in here.
Not about me.
Maybe a few
It's all
lies.
true.
But no, I was talking to a girl the other day, and she said, well, my friend wrote a book, and she said, you know, most of it's a true story. And I'm like, well, I don't want to read a story where I have to decipher which story is true and not true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just true stories. I mean, there's some funny ones, there's some sad ones, there's, you know, we've had deaths in the family, you know, so you have to...
Well, the house burning itself would be...
Yeah,
you know,
well, the house burning, to be honest with you, traumatized me more than anything that I have experienced, just because I felt like I got so displaced. And then I had, like, so many pictures, like armoires full of pictures that I've been taking since I was 14.
Album within an album.
So, and that's the reason I started writing, was to do that. And then I had memories of people in there, you know, from like when my Aunt Trish got murdered, you know, like the plants from the funeral that I had been taking care of for years. You know, I lost all of that too. So at this point, I didn't have any more physical memories of them at all, you know. And people's like, well, you remember stuff. I said, do you remember your 80s hairdo? Unless you have a picture of it.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
Somebody shows you a picture of it and you go, oh my goodness, did I look like that?
Yeah.
So you need pictures to remind you of that. So the story's been very hard to write by not having the pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm not a writer, but a storyteller that's learning to write.
Exactly. Now, also, though, you have some other items that you're looking to market as well.
I am, and this is my steak Nico spice that goes on the
Everything.
steaks that I cook at this goes on the steak Nico.
Okay.
You can put it on everything, but this is what I use to make my special steak at the cafe.
Yummy, yummy.
And it will be talked about in the second book, because this is, well, besides love and a good steak and a good grill, good workers, good atmosphere, and then you add this to a delicious marinated steak. That's what keeps people coming back. So now that I'm closed, I'm hoping to market, or temporarily closed, to market this, and when people can't come to the cafe, they can use it. It's not going to be as good because I'm not cooking it, but
Right.
but they can still get the flavor.
Now, how can people get your spice?
Well, right now I have this. The only thing I've done with this is at Willie Martin's right now.
Okay.
I started with him, and then I'm going to try to find in each town like a local store that wants to carry it. And then my daughter is actually working on getting a website on like Etsy, because she's into fashion and paintings, and she wants to open up her own little shop. So I
Yeah.
told her, before you try to go open up a shop, why don't you start small, you know, and see what people are wanting. So
Absolutely.
she's eventually, if she gets that going, put that on there. So she's wanting I guess something like, what's her name downtown, the little
A cute little
cute
shop.
shop.
A
little
cute
shop. She wants something like that in Louisville. I mean, that's all she talks about. So she's an artist and very creative, and I hope she'll get there eventually.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell her I didn't get anywhere till I was 32. She's got 10 more years. But don't nobody tell her.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Now, again, you can get a copy of Comet Eyes, which is by Missy Luckett, on Amazon.com. You can go to Willie Martin on Main Street in Lebanon. You can go to Carmichael's Bookstore as well in Louisville. And you can also get this spice at Willie Martin's right on Main Street in Lebanon. Get a copy of that, get some steak rub on there. And also you can find out more about the next book coming out, which will be in October.
Yes.
Right?
Hopefully, fingers crossed. So.
Now, do you have a Facebook page that you're promoting all this on too?
I just have I'm not a big Facebooker.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I'm on there, and I've got the Missy's Cafe on there, and I kind of randomly put it on Facebook, but you don't want to like just hammer it in people's face because they're going to get tired of seeing it. So, I mean, most of the people locally have seen the book, so I just have to work on going a little further. So, yes, I do have a Missy's page, which is me, and then I have the cafe, but we're one of the same, so it doesn't matter which one you go to.
Absolutely.
So
get your copy of the book, get your spice, go to Willie Martin's right on Main Street in Lebanon, and we'll let you know when the next one's coming out here on Channel 6 Television.
Sounds
And maybe we'll
great.
have you back to talk about that one.
Oh, okay.
This one went well, right?
This one went really well.
Good job.
did.
Nerves
I
are
think
calm
it did.
for once.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, she told you what's in the second book yet? Have you seen that at all?
Not
You-
that much.
Oh, you seen some the other day
Not
that
that
we were
much.
reading about.
Not about that much. Not a whole
She
lot.
likes for me to read it to her, and then she'll give her input, which helps because then I can go back in, which helps make the story flow or
Yeah.
funnier or
Exactly.
the stories aren't like, when I say not facts, I don't worry about dates and times and this happened at 6:45,
Down to the
except on the day that my house burnt down. I'm a little more detailed, but trying to go back, and when you tell these stories, we're not worried about exact times. We're just telling things that I remember it from, and then when they pitch in and
Exactly.
give me a little extra stories, because of course I wouldn't have known that my Aunt Trish yanked my hair out at the age 2 from here to here. So I had to be told that story and why she thought I looked like a little pygmy one night.
Exactly. It's a good story.
So
We'll get
So,
Cometized. You can find out that whole story, which sounds painful.
I'm pretty tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They can find out more about Missy on Cometized and about her mother here as well, because her whole story's in there too.
A lot of them.
Yep. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for having us in.
Absolutely. So get Cometized. It's been Gary White for Central Kentucky Television.